Hello and welcome to today's Heartlift with Janell. I'm so excited. Today's a big day in the life of our community because I am taking a big brave step and I have a wonderful guest that has decided to hold my hand and offer me encouragement to step out into the conversational podcast, which means it's not just all me talking. So I have to get a new set of skills to learn how to do this. And I've been telling you for months, I've just been so scared to do this. And it's really silly, I know, but it's just been something I haven't been willing to step out of my comfort zone. But then I found this wonderful woman named Julia Cook. And Julia is a children's author. Welcome, Julia. I'm so happy to have you here. So
Thank
happy.
you.
I found you. Who knows how I found you, right? But I found you by God's leading, I believe. I was going to Kansas to see my son and my daughter-in-law, his wife, Kristen, and she invited me to come speak to her little class of kindergartners. Well, I was a first grade teacher, so that's my happy place. And I thought, okay, I want to find a book that talks about words because a huge part of my writing, to nonfiction prescriptive writing to big people, is about the power of our words and speaking healing words into our lives. And so there you were in my Amazon search. There was Julia. Let me get it. Hold on. This was it. First of all, it was this one. My mouth is a volcano. Because my mouth is a volcano. Or maybe
here's the original one.
So cool. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. I love that so much. That's so cool. If you're listening on the podcast, you cannot see that Julia just held up her original sketching out of My Mouth is a Volcano, which just as a writer, as an author, makes me tear up because that's just seeing a dream come true. So all you wannabe authors out there, just keep sketching it down, put it in your sketchbooks and your notebooks, because one day it may come into fruition and that will be such an exciting day. So My Mouth is a Volcano was first, and I read that to the darling little kindergartners. And then my superhero is spunky spirited Isabella in Decibella and her 6-inch voice. So if you know me, and everyone in my friends now are listening going, yep, that's Janell. She has a 6-inch voice. She has a very loud voice. So Decibella was oh so much fun, Julia. And the children got it. They just got it. And so I know you can't see what I'm holding up, you guys, but you can certainly watch us on our YouTube channel interview and see all the yummy, amazing books that this beautiful woman has written. So Julia,
Okay.
thank you. And I'm so grateful. We've been talking about gratitude, and this is my moment of gratitude today. You are someone that I'm just so happy and proud that you've said yes to come on. So tell us how, Julia, you got started in writing these amazing books.
Thank you.
Amazing.
I was a middle school math teacher, and I got an opportunity to get a degree in counseling to become a better teacher. And then in the town I lived in, they had an opening for a school counselor. So I went ahead and took that, thinking I might as well use my degree. And in graduate school, I had a really good teacher that, we have this much to teach kids. We have this much time to do it in. If we can read them a storybook, and the storybook has skills embedded in the words, when we take the storybook away, the words stay in their head. And human beings, when they're read to, they just let down their guard. So a great way, we don't want to solve our kids' problems for them and wave our
wand. She's waving a wand.
If we do that, they will live in our basement when they're 30 years old. We want to give them the wand and show them how to wave it themselves.
Yes. So say that again. Say it again. You have to say that one.
Okay. So you, as a parent, we want to wave our wand and solve our kids' problems for them. But if we do that, they live in our basement when they're 30. We want to give them the wand and show them how to wave it themselves. We want to give our kids the problem-solving tools. We want to be the Home Depot and give them direction and the tools, but they have to build the house by themselves. And as educators and teachers, that's what we want, because, and as parents, because we want our kids to be good problem solvers in the world. And, you know, the number one thing that will set your child apart when they leave you and go to get a job is the ability to be a good team player. You can Google Forbes magazine top 10 qualities they're looking for in employees. 5 through 10 are academics, 2, 3, and 4 are executive function skills. Can you get there on time? But the number one thing employers are looking for employees in the 21st century are the skills to get along with each other and team player. Because no matter how smart you are or how gifted you are, if you can't share those gifts with others, they aren't any good to anyone. And
I
so
just want
my
to pause there though for a minute, because that's emotional intelligence as well. And we talk a lot about that in our community. And when I was reading through your bio, your goal, I really want to bring this out, because if you can see here, guys, I'm holding up my notes, which you know how I love to write notes and highlight. I highlighted your goal: actively involve young people in fun, memorable stories and teach them to become lifelong problem solvers. That's why I wanted you on here, because that's a skill set that is underrated. And we have a whole nation right now at home. Parents have been put in charge of their children's education in a great way. I chose to homeschool, Julia. I homeschooled for 14 years and it was hard, and I chose it. This
and
is,
you have a teaching background though.
I do have a teaching background. This
You
is
know,
true.
Kid,
Yeah,
our kids do not come with instructions, and
no, they do not.
unfortunately, it seems like they're getting weirder every year. And so you are not going to know all the answers as a parent, and what seems to work for one child doesn't work for others.
That's not.
And
So
so
you just offered, I think, the greatest gift that we could give parents, and that we could call back as a little bit older women who have raised children, that this time at home is an golden opportunity to offer them the skills how to be problem solvers.
right, and you know, since so what happened is I couldn't figure out how to teach my kids tattling when I was a school counselor that first year.
Oh,
And the teachers were pulling their hair out, and I did a survey and they said, teach them about tattling. So I looked for a book on tattling and I couldn't
oh,
find one that said what it wanted it to say. So I wrote a story about a little kid, I think I
which
have
one
here,
is that? I
who,
don't have
who
that one.
tattled so much that he grew a tail. And what came out of that were 4 rules that basically tell kids when to go to the teacher and when to solve your problems
Oh
yourself.
my gosh, Julia, I love that you have all of your originals. Oh my gosh, what is
It's
that?
in Chinese, but so
Chinese.
it worked, and so I used it at another school. I had a friend use it because the teachers came in and said, "This is working. These rules are working. The kids are getting it." And so a teacher came in and said, "You should do something with this." So on a whim one day, I grabbed a book off the shelf and I turned it to the publishing page. That's the page, you know, that nobody reads. And there was publisher information. So I picked up the phone and called and I said, I'm a school counselor, just wrote a book on tattling. It's working. And they said, send it in. We're looking for one. So I overnighted it on a Monday. They called me 2 days later on Wednesday. They said, we want to publish your book. Do you have more? I said, how much do I have to pay you? They said, ma'am, we're going to pay you. I dropped the phone. And then they said, do you have any others? I said, well, when I was little, I used to interrupt all the time. Interrupted so much. My babysitter said, Julia, your mouth is a volcano. So that one, I have that one, and I sent that in. And now 15 years later, there's 113 titles. They all are research based. They are all social emotional related.
Yes.
And they teach you what to say as a parent, how to say it.
That's
what to say as a teacher and how to say it. And there's 3 million now in print. So that's my story.
To see that in Chinese just makes my heart leap as an author. Like, I just can't even fathom. I hope my new book that's coming out is in so many languages. That would be so exciting. But today it was so hard when Julia and I met on the phone. Number one, I was trying not to be a fangirl, but number two, I was like, what book do we choose to highlight? Because I want to highlight them all. And I do use them in my my therapeutic practice. I use them with families and they're just amazing. So Julia led me on a path and we came up with a flicker of hope.
Yeah.
Julia thought this time of life, we are in the season of Christmas. At the time we talked, we knew we would be coming into the season of Thanksgiving and Christmas, and that we would be taping this at Christmas time. And then we're in a COVID Christmas. So we're in this global pandemic. Things are seemingly maybe going to get better. But I know in my practice with my clients, there is certainly the flicker of hope is diminishing. And so when I immediately, I ordered it while I was talking to Julia. And when I got it a couple days later and read it, I just wanted to weep. I'm sorry. I'm very emotional. And I just love to help people and I love people. And so tell me, sweet Julia, tell me about this book. Where
Well,
did this book come from in your
a
life
good,
journey?
a good children's book isn't age specific because we've all been 6, we've all been 9, we've all been 11. This was pre-pandemic and it's really hitting home now, but pre-pandemic, the suicide age for kids 10 to 14 had tripled in the last 3 years with
Yes.
our kids. And I attribute that to 2 specific reasons.
Okay.
The first one is when a child succeeds in a video game, their foot is about this big. It's huge. And so to get from A to B, they maybe need to take 3 or 4 steps. And then when they win, all this dopamine and serotonin goes into their brain and they feel like they're going to set the world on fire and they are it on a stick. To
Yep.
get the same feeling in real life, like this is hitting a home run on a video game in baseball. This is hitting a home run in real life.
Oh,
Their
Julia,
footprint is like 1/5 of the size of the footprint so they have a lot more steps to take. Now, when they do accomplish the goal, the amount of dopamine and serotonin is 5 times greater than on a video game. But if the kid only feels like they're good at things through a video game, real life ends up kicking them right in the rear end.
yeah.
And so they try as hard as they normally do and find that they don't succeed.
Yes.
So as parents, we have to balance off-screen highs with on-screen highs so that and sometimes, they'll get a video game reward and it's so ecstatic and then they'll ace a spelling test and we'll say, oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Instead, you need to tell to build your child's self-esteem. You don't tell them great things about themselves.
Right.
You tell them to celebrate those great things from inside. Like, wow, you aced that test. I bet you're doing a happy dance the size of Texas. What does it look like? And then they start, oh, yeah, I guess I am. They have to remind themselves to say, go me, I did it. And it has to come from the inside. So that is the one reason why suicide, because kids don't feel like they're capable of accomplishing, and their brain is tricked. They think they're this cool and really they're only this cool, and it lets them down. The second reason for increased suicide, I feel is, and I experienced it firsthand with my son, is sleep deprivation. We think about how much time we spend on our screens.
Yes. And it tells us every week.
Right. And see, and a typical day for a child or a person at work too is 6 to 8 hours at work, 8 to 10 hours of sleep, and the rest of the time extracurricular activities, playing video games, having family time, whatever. If we have increased screen time to the point where it grows a lot, if you look at the green triangles, we still get everything done we have to get done, but our sleep gets cut.
Yes.
When the human brain does not get enough sleep, the first symptom, the proteins can't be cleaned off of the neurons, and the dopamine and serotonin don't get to do their thing. And the first symptom you see is irritability. And with more sleep deprivation, the second symptom you see is anxiety. And the third symptom you see is depression. So I witnessed this firsthand when my son was trying to study for medical boards. he put himself on this crazy 20-hour-a-day study session with very little sleep. And
Yes.
pretty soon he couldn't remember anything, and he felt hopeless because of sleep deprivation. So if you put the screen problem with social media and social media letdown, where everybody knows if you don't get invited to a party because there's pictures, and the social media content, the content of time, and then you add this factor, that is what is causing this lack of ability of I can do it. And so after my son went through his stent where he had to be hospitalized and his sleep, he was number 11 in his medical school class, but because he got into this weird sleep thing, he couldn't get it back.
Correct.
And he was very depressed and had to be hospitalized, and they had to restart his sleep clock.
Yeah, my son went through that actually after his first semester in college. We had to reset his sleep clock, and it was because it was similar, away from home. He's a twin, lots of things like that, and he was increasingly probably getting more anxious. And so, yeah.
And I have a dear friend whose husband killed himself, and she told me that he said he feels like there's a dark cloud over his head, only it doesn't feel like a cloud. To him, it feels like mountains. So I started thinking in this visual, if you write a book with metaphor, then it will apply to everyone. So I came up with this visual of a flicker of hope, where this little candle has a little tiny flame, and another candle comes by and says, wow, your flame isn't very bright. I can tell your flame isn't very bright, and you probably have dark clouds hovering over you, only they don't feel like clouds to you, they feel like mountains. But if your flame was brighter, you could actually lighten those clouds and push them away. So I started thinking about candles, and I got out some candles, and when you light a flame and it's about to go out, and someone else borrows some of the flame, you put two flames together, when you take them apart, they're both brighter. One is brighter for giving, and one is brighter for getting, scientifically, when you do that. But also, if you think about it, if I feel hopeless, that means I don't have any gas in my tank.
That's correct.
I could be the best car ever, but without gas, I'm not going to get to go anywhere, because I don't have the fuel to drive me to do that. And hope, wishful thinking is, oh, I wish I'd win the lottery, but I'm not doing anything like buying a ticket to get there, so I can't, be responsible for that. And then there's optimistic thinking, the people that drive us nuts. Oh, the sun's going to come up tomorrow.
I'm an optimist, so I would be one of those people.
And you're like, but then, okay, Janell, you're an optimist, but think about it. When things go south, you get frustrated because you just didn't do anything physically to make it change.
Correct.
But a hopeful person knows that tomorrow will be better than today. I have the power to make that happen. There's many different pathways to my goal. And I realize those pathways are going to have obstacles. And so hope is different. It's the power of making, and so I started thinking about that. This candle, feels like there's no way. But another candle comes by and makes the light brighter, and then they're lighter, so then they can push them away. And
you call the other candle that comes along, which just it just took my breath away, a hope builder.
Hope builder. And there's hope builders everywhere.
I just want to say, in our community, I call them a heart lifter. And it's really the same. I feel like if you were going to write a book about heart lifting, it would be a flicker of hope. And so I really resonated with that. So I love that hope building idea. I also love, if I can rewind just a second, Julia, and pick your brain a little bit more, especially as a school counselor, for all our mamas and daddies out there, because it is a rough culture, right, with social media and all of that. So I love your advice. I love the wisdom that you're getting. I want us to sit for a second, because I come from a Christian worldview, and a lot of my followers as well, and my listeners. And sometimes in that worldview, you're told, I can do this, yay me, that is prideful.
Well, there's a difference between being confident and being cocky.
Good. If
See,
you could just speak on that for just a second.
you know, by saying I can do this, yay me, go me, that is you know, if I'm it on a stick, I'm cocky. A cocky person is not willing to learn from others.
Thank you.
A confident person is they celebrate what they've done, but they're always willing to grow and get more. So I want my kids when they grow up to be, you know, confident, not cocky, because once you're cocky, you're done learning. So
Thank you. It's the teachability factor, isn't it? Right.
and this go me thing, you know, your child can only grow their self-esteem if they're proud of what they've done.
Exactly.
And that's pride from the inside. You can praise a child forever, but if they don't own what they've done and they look in the mirror and see, you know, their accomplishments from the inside out, that's the difference maker.
Pride from the inside. I love that. I was taking a walk yesterday, and I was walking by this house and the children were playing, and I could see the young mama, young kids, and a ball had gone over the fence. Well, the little 4 or 5 year old little girl, I'm sure that fence, the other side of the fence, seemed like she was going, I don't know, to the other side of the world. And so the mama crinked open the fence and I guess encouraged the little girl to go get the ball. And I heard the little girl go, "Do you believe in me?" And the mama said, "Of course I believe in you." She goes, and she got a little further out, "Do you believe in me?" And I was just like, that is just so awesome, because that's creating that secure attachment. We talk a lot about that here in this community, and building herself, right? Her inside, that yes, I can do this. I'm safe. I can go outside the fence. So I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Well, and it only takes one person. If you ever want to watch a really cool video, watch the Oprah segment with Tara Trent. And she was the person who wanted to go to school really bad, and her father would beat her for trying to learn. And she ended up at the age of 11 sneaking into school. And then her dad traded her for a cow. And then she ended up getting married and having 3 kids. But anyway, down the road, she was in a class, and Joe Luck from Hereford International asked her, you know, "What do you want?" She goes, "I want a degree," and whatever. And she told her mom, and her mom said, "Then bury it. And if you believe it will happen." Her mom built her hope. And,
Yes.
you know, that's the thing with this
Excellent.
suicide thing with our kids. We cannot, you know, our kids see when kids' lights are dim, they see that before we do because it's on their level. And sometimes I might have the dimmest light ever, but if I lend some of my light to someone else, I get brighter. And that's the thing. We want kids to be aware of when the other kids have dim lights, number one, but also be willing to go and be a hope builder for that person for 2 reasons. Help that person, but all of a sudden we start feeling significant. And it's when a child or a grown-up feels insignificant that they lose their hope. So building significance, one of the best ways that you can do that is to give, reach out and help other people and make a difference with them. Therefore, it makes a difference with you.
Kind of come outside of the fences you have built for your life. Like just even myself coming outside the fence of I can't
Technology.
Right.
No,
So it's like
social emotional business, and here I am talking to a screen, which is what I tell parents we don't want kids to do, and now we have to. And
we have to.
in a growth curve, you know.
You are being a hope builder to me, because when I first reached out to you, Julia, you were like, "Of course I'll be patient. Of course I'll be gracious. I wouldn't be anything else but that. You know, we'll work on this together. If we have a flop, we'll flop. You know, we'll flop together." You were a hope builder for me, and I wrote down something that I wanted to make sure that we brought up, and it's on page 9. And can I read one page?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm going to put it up. Please, you're going to have to come to the YouTube channel so you can see these incredible illustrations. But it says, "Your unique light is your priceless gift. No one can light up the world around you like you can." Well, I can't light up anything around me right now. I don't have it in me. And then Hope Builder says, "Why?"
Because I can't do anything right. I'm never going to be good enough. You should hear what people say about me. Is it true? Well, it might as well be. Everyone thinks it is.
All those limiting beliefs, all those things.
Right. And, and then they talk about suicide without saying suicide. They say if a light goes out before it's time, so many gifts are never shared. And that's so unfair.
Yeah,
You know,
great.
you're needed, no one else in the world can do what you do.
Yeah, someone needs to hear that today. I have no doubt in my mind. Someone that's listening needs to hear your words, Julia.
When you feel like your light's going to go out and there's a mountain on top of you, one of the best ways to just build a little hope inside yourself is to do something kind for someone else, because
Yes.
then all of a sudden you feel like you mattered and you're significant, and then all of a sudden your light is bigger. And
Yeah.
then we need to be aware of the people around us who have that heavy dark cloud over them, and be willing to, sometimes it's just hello with your eyes. We don't see people's faces anymore, so we've got to make sure that our eyes are expressive and welcome and kind. And go to the store,
Beautiful.
everybody's so upset, and I noticed driving, if you turn in front of somebody, they basically take your rear end off.
Yeah, I've seen a definitely a diminishing capacity of people having the grace for other, like
Right.
they're
They have a very short fuse,
short
and
fuse.
you just think, you see that person at the store. The other day I saw this person at the store working, and she was just so cranky and awful. And I went home and I called the store and had her delivered flowers from someone. Thanks for waiting on me. She won't ever know who it is. But
Fast.
but I feel good about
You're
that.
a flicker of hope.
Yeah, I mean, go draw on someone's sidewalk, just draw a big happy face, and
Yes.
they don't have to always cost money either, but
No,
pay
and
for
I say
the
go
Starbucks
put a
behind
red
you.
helium heart balloon, be a heart lifter, put a card on someone's. Yeah, there are.
Yeah,
This is what I wanted today to be all about.
pay for someone's Starbucks. That was weird. I did
Pay
that
it
one
forward.
time, and like 3 weeks later, someone paid for my Starbucks, and it's
Oh, I love it. So law of attraction. You reap what you sow.
go in and pay off someone's layaway this year. I mean, even if you don't have any money hardly at all, the
Yes.
fact that you give part of yours to someone else without expectation
There
of
you
a
go.
repay, it cannot be tit for tat. It has to be a true act of kindness, an
Yeah.
unconditional act of kindness where, you don't expect anything in repay, but you're going about yourself to do things kind for others. The
Yeah.
rewards are just amazing.
And I like to say the rewards are not always tangible. I share
Oh,
this a lot with the work that I do. The rewards in my life have been that I have more joy, I have more love. They may not be tangible. I don't have a whatever, biggest house in the world or whatever. The intangible gifts to me are the ones that lead us to a meaningful life, and that's what
people
your
always
gifts do to me.
people always try to be happy.
Yeah.
If I do this, this is going to happen, and then I'm happy.
Yes.
Okay, that's wrong, because happy is like icing on a cake. If it happens, great. But happy has nothing to do with you, because like I go and clean my mom's house from top to bottom and spend 6 hours and expect her to be so happy. She comes out and says, "You used my wrong towels and my cleaners are all over. Clean up this mess." Then I'm unhappy. So then I feel less about myself. Switch to joy.
Yeah.
Joy is being thankful for the process of what's going on. Joy is from when we struggle, our joy grows, you
Yes,
know,
I agree.
and,
And that
and it
I
doesn't
think is a
depend on
whole other
other
topic for
people.
you and me. I know. I
Oh,
love that. It's you walking out of your mother's house and going,
I did that to help her, and I feel
"Good
good
girl.
about it.
Good job,
Joy is
Julia."
the process. It's always under construction.
It
So
is. Julia, I don't want to stop this. I may have to have you for a part two. I don't know. But do you have just a final thought for us on how we can continue? You've given us so many. Number one, I just want to make sure that everybody goes to Julia's website, juliacook.com.
JuliaCookOnline.com, and everything on
JuliaCookOnline.com.
you can get them on Amazon too, but if you buy them from my website, I autograph them and personalize
Yeah.
them. There's a place you can do that. Um,
Yes.
we don't know everything, and that's why you guys have Google. We had Ann Landers when I was a mom. It took
Yes.
6 weeks to get an answer, and it was just like, whoa. But you're lucky. But if you feel sad about yourself, if you feel anxious or depressed, first thing before you go run into the doctor and say, "Oh my gosh, I think I'm bipolar," find out if you're getting restful sleep. And if your phone is next to you and at 2 a.m. it goes off and says there's bad weather, that's going to screw up your sleep. put your phone in another room and turn it off at night. Go tech free between 11 and 6. That'll help a lot.
It
And
does.
then the second thing is, if you feel insignificant, think about the people in your life who made you realize that you really matter. Those are your hope builders. You try to do that for someone else, all of a sudden your little light is going to be a lot brighter than it was before. Because it's not about what we get in this world, you guys. It's about what we give to others to help them. That's true amazingness. That's when you look at all the people who've won all the lotteries, the people who've really made a difference and are happy with the money are people, yeah, they spent a little on themselves, but they've found ways to help other people with that money, and they're making it. And happiness isn't a dollar thing.
No.
Dollars are convenience, but it's not a dollar thing. And it's hard to be happy when we have financial struggles.
Right.
But joy is an inside job, and no one can rob you of your human joy. It's your gift, it's your own thing. And live by the power of yet. I can't do this yet. I can't do this yet, with the growth mindset. But do something nice for others, you'll feel better about yourself, and realize that some people are put on this planet to show the rest of us how not to be, and they're really good at their job. So you can't change that, but you can change who you are.
We can, and that is so beautiful, and I can't thank you enough. And
I'd love to do that. That's fun.
It was so good. I am smiling from ear to ear if you're listening and can't see the video, because Julia, you have just reached over through this technology and put your light on my light, and now I'm going to burn really bright today. I'm going to be really bright. I'll probably be so bright people will be running away. Now it's just, I'm going to go be a flicker of hope, and I want all of you out there in this community to be a flicker of hope. That's what we do here. And please go to juliacookonline.com. Everything you need is there. And if you want signed copies of any of her books for Christmas, get it done quick, because, shipping and handling and all that is a little slower these days. But I have a feeling we will hear from Julia again, because
I'd love to. That'd be great.
It would be so great. I would just love it. And so that is today's episode. I hope that you feel a bit brighter, and that you always remember, my friends, that you have value, worth, and dignity. Until next time.